products to launch, as a promo item. His needs would be different from another buyer within the same company, say somebody in HR, who might want to reward all of those who have 100% attendance within the quarter. No? Different from the CEO, who might want to give presents to his associates and make a statement. Okay? Or different from whoever is in charge of it, the one who might want to dress up their offices with desk accessories. So you would have different contacts, different segments. And then you would have, of course, multiple marketing objectives. This is what makes IDM, another new word, integrated direct marketing, the marketing system of choice for B2B marketing. What's integrated direct marketing? Integrated direct marketing simply takes the basic principles of direct marketing and uses an arsenal or a variety of media and DM methods to be able to hit their marketing objectives. Okay, so you integrate several elements, or it's a multiple effort campaign usually, not a single effort campaign. So let's go to methods and media. Why let me call this retard? Diki, malapit na akong kumanta. Okay? They're essentially the same whether you're marketing to consumers or corporations. As Ichai mentioned earlier, the selection of methods and media is dependent on your marketing objective. Say you're generating leads from broad market, your choices would be direct response advertising, those ads with a big telephone number or a response device, that one, or take ones. Why these? Because they have a shotgun reach. Okay? It's not something I highly recommend, but if all else fails, you have nowhere else to go, you can generate leads from broad market through mass media. However, let's not talk about even single-digit response rates here. Okay? If you're talking about targeted segments, then you use outbound telemarketing or email campaigns to drive traffic to websites. Okay? So again, if you're wanting to generate leads, these are the media you can use depending on how tight or how broad is the market segment or list that you're wanting to generate leads from. From broad market, direct response advertising and take ones. From segments of the market that you can identify, which is really the choice, no? The, how do you call this now? The strategy of choice. Then you use outbound telemarketing and traffic building campaigns to drive people to your website. Shall we dance? Lead qualification. So you start with lead generation. All you know is they're interested. How do you know if they're suspects, right? You want to make them prospects. So shall we dance? Shall we get to know each other better? Let's see if there's a magic there, there's some chemistry there. So if you want to do lead qualification, you definitely have to be looking at an already identified segment of the market. You can't do lead qual from broad market. You use direct mail, and direct mail you can use in a single effort campaign. The beauty about direct mail, and one of the reasons why it is used so often, is you can sell with one effort, one direct mail package, for as long as it's appropriate to the product and the service. This is what insurance direct marketers know. So direct mail, your choices are snail mail, or for single or multiple effort campaigns, postcards, fax mail, and email, but this one can be used only for multiple effort campaigns. So what happens is, you generate the lead, you qualify the lead, you find out a little bit more, but you're still not selling No? You're still finding out, okay? Getting to know each other. And then telemarketing, outbound and inbound, especially for products and services that are a little bit more difficult to explain. If the product is straightforward, people know what it's for, you can do the lead qualification through postcard, no? Through a postcard, a simple postcard. But more complex than that, you need a more complex mail piece or telemarketing. Why am I recommending telemarketing? Because you have a higher level of involvement, especially if it's inbound. No? If you're asking them to call in. You have a higher level of involvement. You also have a higher level of interaction. And one of the secrets in direct marketing is really the interactive relationship between your customer and you, regardless of whether that customer is an individual consumer or a corporate buyer. Still on methods and media, you and I are going on together. Malapit na yung one night stand to a happy marriage. Okay? Generating outright sales to media. Direct mail, they have to have catalogs with order forms, and websites, a catalog with a shopping cart. Do we do this here? Just starting. The main concern is really the payment mode. In the Philippine scenario, no? The main concern is the payment mode and the security of the information of your credit card. No? So there are several ways of going around that. What you can do is you'll have to have an interface where you're actually going to them with a charge slip that's already been pre-approved so that they can sign. So it's an extra step. It's an extra step because of the insecurity about the security of credit card information. So that's something that needs a lot of work. Not just technical, I don't think it's really technical, but it's really more arrangements being made between card companies. Measurement. This is the bottom line. Was it worth my work? O sayang lang ba yung ginawa ko? At the end of the day, the bottom line is the bottom line. And you want to at least break even on your marketing effort. Otherwise, you'll be out the door, depending on how strict your boss is. And I remember the days when I was still both a consultant and previously that, when I was employed also in direct marketing. I was only as good as my last direct marketing campaign. Even if, let's say, my second to the last campaign was a big success, money-wise and otherwise. If I flunked on the last one, I flunked on the last one. So at the end of the day, you want to look at marketing break-even volumes. That's what you want to hit at least. You begin by determining what your marketing acquisition allowance is. How much are you allowed? I don't think this is in my handout. How much am I allowed to spend on marketing and promotions? For every 100 pesos or for every $100, what is my acquisition allowance? Is it 40%? In insurance, acquisition allowance can go as high as 55%. How am I allowed to spend? How much am I allowed to spend? And then from there, you compute your marketing break-even volume. That's assuming you know your cost. It's a very simple formula for computing your marketing break-even volume. You take your cost, divide that by your acquisition allowance. The answer is how many units you need to sell to be able to break even on your marketing cost. And remember, even as you're breaking even on your marketing cost, you're already protecting profit. You're already making profit. You still with me? Yeah? So at the end of the day, you just ask how many do I need to sell to cover my DM campaign cost. So let me walk you through the leather collection, my case study. As I mentioned earlier, we're 10 years old. We celebrated our 10th anniversary September 16th. We use the DM discipline as the backbone of our marketing and sales strategy. In other words, we don't run a campaign without a very clear marketing objective. We don't run a campaign without identifying our target market. We don't run a campaign without figuring out the costs and how much we need to sell to be able to break even the marketing costs. We've been doing that consistently for the last 10 years, and we've been able to build and maintain our business using this. What methods do we use? Quite a number. We've integrated them into 3 models that I will be presenting to you. We've integrated direct marketing methods and media tools and techniques to meet our particular marketing objectives. In the beginning, 10 years ago, customer acquisition was our objective, obvious pa. We were a paper products company with a very successful paper product. It was called the Asian Manager. So I would have to acknowledge AIM also for allowing us to use the name the Asian Manager for our triax organizer planner system. We launched it 12 years ago at an AIM alumni meeting in Taipei. We had a wonderful product. We were distributing this through Bookmark, another of our midwives for the birth of the leather collection, in the retail market. I took a look at the product and we said, hey, it makes sense, I think, to position this as a corporate gift, as a Christmas gift in particular. I mean, instead of all those boring diaries, I was thinking, hey, you know, those diaries wind up with the secretary, with the maid, with the driver, you know? And we said, if you're marketing to CEOs, I always think big. If you're marketing to CEOs, then you would want to give the CEO a product that he would use himself. And each time he uses it, he will remember you, not because you have your logo emblazoned on it, because that's also a little bit tacky and does not suit that particular target market, no? But because in giving a gift that is appropriate to your customer's particular lifestyle and needs, even if you've given it to 1,000 other customers, you're telling him he's special. He feels special. And so he remembers each time he uses the product. And so we positioned it in the corporate market. And as you can see, it was a decision that was inspired because it is what gave birth to what eventually became the leather collection. The leather collection started as a brand in our paper products company. But once we had positioned ourselves in the corporate gift market, particularly in the show called Corporate Giveaways, we were challenged by a potential client who said, ayaw namin ng organizer na yan. Oo nga, maganda, pero hindi yan ang kailangan namin. I'm talking about si Diba. Hindi yan ang kailangan namin. Kahit maganda siya. Wala. Ang kailangan niya. Gagawa daw sila ng malaking promo. Kasi, what do you want? We want a travel collection. Now, we've never done a travel collection before. But we were gifted with a lot of bucks. And so we said yes, we would make samples. They told us how much the order would be if we would meet their requirement. It was too much for us to turn our backs on. So we gathered the resources required to meet their requirement. And voila, we have the leather collection. The company was born. So that's how they made us. So customer acquisition was our first objective. We wanted to penetrate our target market segment, the corporate gift market. And our solution was basically not only to define our particular target market segment in that large corporate gifts target market segment, but also the micro market segments within that already smaller segment of the corporate gift market. So you have the corporate gift market, and under that you have the CEO gift market, and under that you have those who are interested in leather goods, right? And then you have the different uses that they might have. So let's run through them. So we looked at the market, saw the possibilities, and developed appropriate products and services for the different micro-market segments that we identify. So it's not true what they teach in schools like AIM sometimes, that when you're an entrep, you have this source of money or money sitting in the bank, you sit down and you decide what business to go into. The business comes to you, the opportunities come to you. And we saw this coming to us. And we had the organizer, right? But we saw that this is not quite the only thing that our potential customers wanted. And so our products evolved and developed in response to the needs, not just the needs, the dictates of our customers. And if we now have over 200 SKU, ranging from T-tongs through personal accessories, gym bags, onto medium suitcases, it is because our customers are very demanding and have challenged us over the last 10 years. And then, we had, of course, to build and position the brand appropriately. You know, 10 years ago, we were much hungrier than we are now. And many people came to us wanting us to be soft-on, okay? To sell our products under their brand. I don't know by what inspiration, by what grace, we said no. Despite the fact that it was so scary, because that would have put food on the table. But we said no, why? Because the marketer in me knew that this business would become a success only if I built a brand. And so we built a brand and positioned it upmarket. Okay? Although right now our buyers and users are A, B, and upscale C. Years later, what are we trying to do? Di syempre keep our customers. Sana lahat parang Citibank 10 years, every year bumibili. Pero ang kanilang account officer, high ranking, ako. Walang ibang umuubra sa kanila. Ganyan talaga pagsunod. So, retention, repeat purchase, usage, we wanted to be multiplied contacts and buyers within the same organization. Okay? And of course, acquisition, still acquisition. We're still wanting to increase market share. We're still wanting to expand our marketplace. Okay? Why are we so ambitious? We have 120 people to feed, ourselves included. Okay. We began with, if you look at our product lines, they're as generic as you can get. There's nothing really much different about them. Okay? You would have small, medium, and large leather goods. Ano bang pinaibahan niyan sa produkto ng ibang gumagawa ng leather? Wala, di ba? By the way, the graphics are not compliments of me, they're compliments of my husband, who is the visual person between us. I do the copy, he does the visuals. Handcrafted, genuine leather. What's so differentiated about that? Okay. Bags, briefcases, and folios. Yeah. Organizers and meeting folders. Personal accessories. Desk accessories. I mean, when you put them in categories like this, what's so special? Wala, di ba? They're as generic as you can get. How do you respond as a marketer? That's a question, no? Markets. You have our target market segment, which I've talked about before. You have the corporate gift market segment, the large market. Then you have the micro market segments. Corporate gifts for occasions, Christmas, anniversaries. Corporate giveaways for events, trade shows, conferences and conventions. Corporate premiums for promos, you're launching a product, okay? Corporate incentives for your sales force, rewards for usage of your credit cards. We have tie-ups like this. Accessories for your office, for your personnel. Looking at that, you can see how we really partition, no, our target market segment. We really partitioned into what I call micro markets. Sometimes I call it sliver segments. Okay? Although micro markets is easier to understand. As Ichay said, different strokes for different folks. So, nasa positioning lang yan. We talk about business gifts and accessories, under which you have executive accessories, meeting organizers and folders. They're the same products I talked about kanina. Kaya lang, they're packaged differently, positioned differently. Okay? And you have different menus to show them under this packaging. You have desk accessories, travel and leisure accessories. Then you have corporate giveaways, premiums and incentives. And under this, you have trade giveaways and premiums, rewards and incentives. So what are we doing here? After we had identified our micro market segments, what we did was create a menu for each particular micro market segment, using essentially the same products, but positioning it for the use of that particular, for the needs of that particular micro market segment. How did we generate leads for this? I don't know if this is the slide, let me check. There. We had these ear ads in the Inquirer. Having a company affair, that was referring to those with events. Launching a product, again, you're identifying your target market. Looking for giveaways, looking for incentives, pursuing a client, planning a conference, so maintaining a client. So what's happening here? What's happening here is you're really siphoning out, no, that particular micro market segment with a particular ad. And these ads were timed for particular seasons of the year. Like if it was conference season, which is roughly the first quarter, that's when it would come out with the planning a conference ear ads. No? They're very cost effective, they're very cheap. At that time, I think they were 4,500 pesos per insert at the PDI, but very, very effective. Prospect profile, where did we begin? Do with lists, hindi pa to database. By industry classification, financial services, of course, a very high user of corporate gifts and giveaways. Pharma also. Consumer goods, oil products, telecom services. Who do you talk to? Who were we looking for? Our most responsive contacts and buyers were category, product, and brand managers. Why? Because they understand quality. They understand money for value. Versus some other people in the organization who understand the lowest price. And we will never win when we're talking about lowest price. Not if you're competing against Intel. Advertising and promotions managers, purchasing managers and buyers, executive assistants and secretaries, and CEOs. So these are the ones we were looking for. What were we looking for? Budgets. They had to have a budget for sales promotions, gift giving. They had to have sales promotions and public relations activities. So these are what in consumer behavior you would call psychographics. Okay? In B2B marketing, these are the corporate styles, corporate lifestyles you're looking for. At least we were looking for our product category. So they had to have budgets, otherwise what would they spend? They had to have activities where they would need our products. And their target recipient segment had to be AB. And based on Let's Talk this morning, AB upscales. Where did we find them? Siyempre in the beginning, affinity groups. What Ned referred to this morning as naturally occurring clusters. What's that what he said? Segment. Affinity groups. So trade associations, like the Philippine Marketing Association, I think that is here. Marketing executives of the pharma industry. You're familiar with that one, Richie. Purchasing and Materials Management Association. Of course, the top 1,000 corporations and DM respondent lists. Where do you get DM respondent lists? I'm preempting the question. Basically from DM list brokers. There are such service providers. I think BCDP is still a list broker. Are you, Dicky? Are you still there? Wala na ba si Dicky? Okay.
DM Plus.
DM Plus. Sorry. DM Plus. Ardy. Okay. So basically from DM respondent lists, you're looking at the list of category, product, and brand managers. What is our customer acquisition strategy? First, we position ourselves as corporate gift specialists, which is very different from being simply a manufacturer or a supplier of leather goods. Diba? Manufacturer of leather goods, supplier of giveaways, walang dating yung. Diba? Corporate gift specialist, di ba may dating? Tapos may kasamang ganyan pa. Maniniwala sila sa inyo. Di ba? We're simply following our maxim, our new slogan, which is leave a lasting impression with the leather collection, and it better be a good one. Okay, so corporate gift specialist. Our offer really is high perceived value gifts at corporate prices. How do we achieve that? When you go to any buyer, maski nasabihin mo, this item is for 100 or 500 or 1,000 pesos, maski magkano mahal. Yan ay sasagot sa'yo, mahal naman. Diba? Wala naman silang basis, mahal naman. Pero pag sinabi mo sa kanila, alam mo ba to, 500 ko lang magbibigay sa'yo, nakita mo na ba, magkano ko sa tindahan, 252. Ang mura! Ba't ganun lang? Mura na ngayon. So, we needed our retail stores as a benchmark for pricing. And that is why we have retail stores. Don't tell the others, but that's why we have retail stores. So we offer high perceived value gifts at corporate prices. And gifts that we claim create and leave a lasting impression. A good impression. Okay, that is our claim. I hope it is true. But maybe because we have some suitcases here, maybe it's true. Okay, our integrated marketing models, I promised 3. First one starts with a DM show invitation to DM respondent lists and our customer database. We use this is the lead generation phase. The invitation is usually to an event or trade show, and the largest show would be the annual corporate giveaway show, which is running on its 12th year, as well as in-house shows that we have right now, particularly now that we have our own factory store and showroom. So you might have, and this is the ad actually, that the event organizer puts out, and we support it with ads of our own. So we integrate our own efforts with the effort of the event manager. These are still theirs, okay? And this is what we do. This is basically what we mailed out, okay, as an invitation to our lists. And we're talking about promos and incentives here. What were we saying? That if you came, remember this is a trade event. You have right now maybe about close to 200 exhibitors. So how do you rise above the clutter? First, by positioning yourself size-wise, also physically right in front of the door, and also based on your merchandising, okay? You make a statement, but that's only the beginning. That's like window display. Then the invitation asks them to go to our booth to update their file. If they were an existing customer, to update their file. If they were not a customer, to give us their information. They would have to interface with an account officer to qualify for a present. And note that with the present, we were encouraging use. We were encouraging trial. Para they will fall in love with our products. Para anytime they think of giveaways, they will think of our products. Why do you think you have card cases right now? Para you fall in love with our products. Okay? And then, we ask them pa, in addition to that, they would qualify for a raffle where they could win this laptop. Okay? So, that was our DM show invitation. And then, when they went to the show, there was a personal selling intervention by our account officers who were supposed to tighten the qualification, to do the lead qualification, okay? And if possible, begin the negotiation, leading to an order confirmation. After that comes order fulfillment. It's a fairly long process actually, because as somebody mentioned earlier, in B2B, the decision making is layered. Second model, DM solicitation this time, not an event, for lead generation. So you can have a very simple, DM doesn't have to be complex, it doesn't have to be expensive for a company, writing to companies to try to keep it simple. Simple letter on our letterhead, signed, usual elements, nickname, signed with a PS, typical DM copywriter's technique, and then a response device. We were asking them to tell us when we could see them for a presentation. And then that would be followed up with outbound tele to qualify the lead, just in case they did not get the letter or throw it out. And then we were also hoping for a telefax response, and we would get telefax responses mainly from those who were already our customers. And then again, the personal selling intervention. The last model started with the direct response advertising solicitation, those ear ads that you saw earlier. Okay, they were asked to call in. Looking for incentives, call. There was just a phone number, and then the letter collection, leave a lasting impression. Very simple elements. So inbound tele response, we qualify the lead, then again, personal selling, negotiation, order confirmation, then order. So our sales promotion strategy is very simple. You have limited time offers while stocks last. Promo period ends. You've heard about this before. Seasonal promos like for Christmas or Valentine. Early bird campaigns. This was a very, very successful format. It worked for fax campaigns. It worked for postcard campaigns. It worked for print ads. It worked just about everywhere we used it. Why? I think because of that. Who wouldn't want 100% leather at 50 off? I didn't think it would be that. I figured it would be successful. I'm always very hopeful when I start run a campaign, but I didn't realize how successful this campaign would be. This worked so well because I think it pushed the right button. Di ba ang Pinoy mahilig sa discount? Di ba? Mahilig sa sale, mahilig sa discount. Okay, caveat vendor. Some ethical considerations when you're dealing with companies. Hickey and Ichai were expressing some concern about the trap of incentives, the trap of rewards. Yeah? Because you might fall into the trap of no return, where your customer will buy from you only if you're going to give him something. And he's not really buying because he likes or needs your product or service. He's buying because of the what's in it for me. And if you fall into the trap, your incentive simply has to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And you have limited acquisition allowances, so you get into trouble. So, that aside, there are ethical considerations that I'd like to put forward. One is cultivating. This sits at the heart of my business, of our enterprise. We are in an industry where we are actually feeding the greed of people. So how do I deal with my discomfort? By managing or limiting our use of rewards and incentives. and positioning it very well. Selecting the rewards and incentives very clearly. Let me illustrate. We usually, around August, September, when we do the show, our peak season is for Christmas, understandably. I normally run a campaign called the Plus 10% program. It's a very, very successful campaign. I've run it several years. It works all the time. What's the objective? The objective is to get everybody to order their Christmas gifts earlier so that I can maximize my production capacity. It's a manufacturer's concern. And what happens here? We've had some cases. So how does it run? If you book a standard order at a standard price by a particular date, you receive not the 100 units you ordered, but 10% more. So 110 if you ordered 100 units. We have had some cases where we were asked outright to prepare to separate delivery receipts. No? Not to reflect the plus 10% in the invoice as invoice. Fortunately, I'm not the account officer who deals with accounts usually, except for some accounts. And so the instructions really, and our account officers are able to do this, they simply say, ganun yung sistema namin eh. That we reflect everything, otherwise ma-audit kami. But it is a concern. The other one is breeding corruption. I had a campaign years ago, which I stopped after one run, where our objective was to get every ad prom peso from every client of ours. Like if your ad prom budget or your budget for gifts was $1 million, we were gonna get $1 million from you. You know, you would not buy from anybody else. Puro leather collection you give away. How did you do that? We offered a set of merchandise as freebies depending on how much you book within a certain time frame. It was very similar, it's really very similar to some CASA promotions that you see. For instance, if you book 100,000, then you get maybe a passport wallet, let's say. 200,000, then you get a travel kit. 300,000, then you get a backpack. 400,000, you get an overnighter. 500,000, you get, say, a suitcase. And 1 million, you get a whole set. Okay? People fell for that. Unfortunately, the original intent was for those articles to be for the company. That's not what happened. And we ran into some ethical concerns with some clients. And so we stopped. So it's something we're in process of considering right now. But it's something I'm bringing out because you may run into it. It's a gray area. It's not like bribery that's very clear. It's a gray area. Maybe that's why companies like Toyota write us and say, please do not give anything to anybody in our company. It's a rule, not a single Piton, card case, whatever. No? Not as a gift. No? So if you give anything, it's to their company raffle, company Christmas party. So it's really correct. What about our customer retention strategy? Of course, we maintain an updated customer database. Is it perfect? No. It is my perennial source of frustration. We're working on. We have in place a systematic account management and development strat that depends a whole lot on systematic customer communication and account officer interface. We also offer, but not everybody has been able to use this, consultancy and custom design service. The consultancy, of course, comes from me. As well as product innovation and quality assurance. As I always say, they want Louis Vuitton at Divisoria prices, or leather collection at synthetic prices. So you have to keep your prices competitive, but at the same time, you have to assure quality. Results. I hope all of your names are here. They're not, no? But some of my bigger clients are here. If they're not here, it's no offense, man. Or maybe I don't want the others to know that you're my clients. Okay. We have a loyal customer database of 400 of the top 1,000 corporations. Actual customer number is upwards of 500. But this is the loyal customer database. We have 87% share of the leather corporate gifts market, 92% top of mind share. 48% share of the leather novelties market, which means what they think includes synthetic. And this is a few years ago, annual corporate orders of over 50 million. So it gives us a lot. And branding. My recommendations. My recommendations for B2B, maybe also for B2C, begin with asking you to focus on micro-market segments. It's a very, very differentiated market out there. Diba? You have Levi's jeans being marketed not just to women, but you give in your waist size, the design that you want, and they'll produce it for you. They'll sell it to you. You need to adapt your sales strategy to each specific segment. Do not use the same strategy over and over again unless it works. Put a twist here and there. Use DM discipline for customer acquisition and retention. What do I mean here? Do I mean throw away traditional image advertising? No. All I mean is you use the discipline of looking at results, okay? Looking at watching your bottom line, maintaining a customer database, getting to know your customer as much as possible, matching your product and service to your profile, to your customer profile, and then use whatever tools are required. If you're wanting to simply to build image or to reposition, then you might need to be using simple advertising. That's it. My last word is develop one-on-one relationships with your customer using the appropriate integrated marketing approach. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yoling. The downside of being in the corporate gifts business is that when you supply everyone with the gifts that we give to the people who we have to thank, is that you receive your own product.
True. True, so, I don't mind receiving my own product. You know why? Then you buy more.
But on behalf of Salt and Light Ventures, the organizers, and Yoling, thank you very much. This is a token. It's not an collection, but thank you very much. Yes, thank you, Yoling. And maybe we can invite them to have for some Q&A. We still have 5 to 10 minutes here. Yeah. And
what kind of help they need. I wouldn't suggest going it alone. There are some principles that are applicable that you can apply right away, that you can go home and apply to day after tomorrow after you finish the forum. But at the end of the day, if you want a truly integrated, systematic, direct marketing unit in place, you will need expert help. At the end of the day, it is not so much about marketing as about administrative support systems. Because unless you're able to follow through on the responses and orders that come from a direct marketing campaign, you fall flat on your face, and the next time you do a campaign, nobody will respond.
I'm just curious, in the audience here, how many of you do B2B, business-to-business direct marketing? Can you raise your hands?
Just a few months. 10, maybe 10. Yeah.
So, I assume the rest are not.
Are you all doing B2C? Are you all doing direct marketing? Yeah? Mostly B2C? Yeah, okay. But the concepts and principles are the same. The concepts and principles are the same, and I hope that you were able to benefit from the experience that I shared. There's one for me.
Okay, yeah. And?
It's just an insight, no, not a question. Regarding the ethical problems or ethical considerations that we were talking about. Because a lot of industries do actually practice this, and they call it trade incentive.
Yeah.
No, so it's not anything like it's unethical to give this and that. They put it under the umbrella of trade incentive or incentive to do imposition. And me, as far as I'm concerned, I do not see anything wrong with that. No, it's prevalent, particularly in media, when you talk about to media buyers or to media people or those in the position who make a difference in the decision-making process. So, to me, it's not really a big problem.
Actually, who said that? Arose by any other name? Still arose? The reason, okay, in the beginning, I did not think it was an ethical concern either. I'm a direct marketer at heart, and I need to incentives too. What called my attention to the ethical consideration actually were my clients themselves. Yeah? I mean, tell me, why would somebody ask you not to make a delivery receipt for something that you're delivering to them? Or not to make an invoice for something that you're delivering to them, even if it says FOC or free of charge? Doesn't that make you stop and wonder, it did me? That's how I respond. Especially with what's happening in our environment right now. We're very concerned with graft and corruption. You start looking at what you're doing. And you start looking at what gospel you're spreading. And in my position in the company as the supposed marketing guru, I make the decisions on things like this. And I find that I have to be very discerning. Because it is a gray area. I'm not saying giving incentives is outright bad or unethical. I'm saying it can become unethical. You can fall into the trap of cultivating greed and corruption.
Okay, thanks, Anne, for sharing that. Last question, Yoling, before we call it a day. I noticed that ad that was very successful, 100% leather, 50% off. How do you handle the perception of cheapening? You're talking about positioning yourself as a premium item, and then what happens when you discount it too much?
I was a little concerned about that myself. But my base price really, when I'm talking about 100% genuine leather and 50% off, my base price is not corporate price, but retail price. And if my base is retail price, everybody knows what the factors are when you get to the retail store. Like if you were to get an article from a manufacturer here, by the time it gets to New York, that's 5 times the price. So you're operating on the same principle. And I tried it for a run, and I do it for limited periods. I don't keep it all the time that way. And I found that it did not erode the image.
Okay, great. Audience, okay? You're all ready to go.
Ready to go, yeah.
But thank you again, Yoling.
Thank you.
And thank you, everyone. It's 5 o'clock, so we'll call it a day. Tomorrow we start at, just look at your schedules, we start at 8:45 again. And before you go out, could you kindly give the feedback sheets to the registration desk, to Cecil. Those who submit the feedback sheets will get special, well, I won't bribe you na. Please just give it. Nakamasanay kayo eh. But please, it will help a lot. And parking, you don't need to have it signed or anything. It's a flat rate whole day of 85 pesos. Okay? So thanks again and see you tomorrow.